Shalom to the elect, giving all praise and honor glory to Yahweh Bashem Shai Bashem Chakadash, and giving the double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Well, peace and salutation to the elect again, the remnant whom the Lord is going to have mercy upon, starting with the prophets on 144,000, and the rest of the 1/3 remnant, men, women, and children, whom are all Israelites, whom the Lord has to receive the knowledge and believe in his name and his power and be delivered. So Shemiah Mopin is a mopper from the Great Millstone Plaintables camp of Philadelphia. Double honors again to the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, who just coming with this wee lesson. So you have a U.S. immigration crackdown, ICE, which is Immigration and Custom Enforcement, I believe. Nabs nearly 1,500 illegal aliens in Massachusetts, and largest op ever. All right, so we're gonna play this right here. And fair use warning: the Economic Times. This is for educational purposes only. YouTube, understand that this is for educational purposes only. Fair use warning.
Surge operation arresting nearly 1,500 illegal aliens in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. During the enhanced operation dubbed Operation Patriot, ICE Boston and other federal law enforcement personnel focused on transnational organized crime, gangs, and dangerous illegal alien offenders throughout Mass. More than half of the nearly 1,500 illegals arrested had significant criminal convictions or charges pending against them. Immigration security is national security, and that's why the Trump administration, at the direction of our great president, has secured our border, strengthened our immigration system, and has taken immediate steps to protect the United States from foreign terrorists and other public safety threats.
What you have to understand is that if you are a person of origin that is not so-called wheat, they don't want you here. Okay, if you have entered these borders of America and have worked and had your family here and built family here, and you have a origin outside of this place, they don't want you here. Okay, if you're an Israelite, that's plain. You have it that other nationalities have sought asylum here, coming from a lot of these different Arabic countries and countries over there, Ukraine, and over there in the Caucasus, and Russian territory and stuff. They ain't coming after them. They're coming after the tribes, and right now primarily hitting the Latino tribes, but don't think that they still not scooping up other of the so-called black tribes, so-called, I say. Those are origins of the West Indies, the Negro, and the Haitians and such, because they're getting them too. Okay, and a lot of this that's going on is not being reported on in the mainstream media, and as we do know, they control the media, so the information that's being spread is being controlled, and because these individuals from these different ICE operations, they're very discreet. Okay, we're gonna play this.
If sanctuary cities would change their policies,
and what you have to understand is that there is in America, with the so-called union, which is divided, you have the various states and cities that have built sanctuary, which would allegedly have it where the enforcement of these different immigration laws are not or haven't been pushed, but now you have it with Donald Trump and, his mission. They've been defying just that, okay? The whole sanctuary status of a particular state or city and such, okay? Because there's different reports of stuff happening over here in Philadelphia, which is a sanctuary city, and ICE running down car washes and different establishments, and then the people, of course, be carted off, and it's to be fought in court, but the person is still in their hands, in their possession.
And turn these violent criminal aliens over to us, into our custody, instead of releasing them into the public, we would not have to go out to the communities and do this.
Right, so they're telling you that they want these alleged criminals, right, illegal criminals, basically, or illegal animal criminal, to be taken from the different jurisdictions of the cities where these criminals live, as they would go into, right, and then hand them over directly to ICE, so then ICE can then go to have them in possession, put them in, of course, holding, detention, and deport them, okay? And that's where you have a lot of divide, with Satan, because the states are not in all unity, despite contrary belief. The states are at a great divide, and there's some states that are blue states, some are red states, some are pro-immigration, some are anti-immigration, okay? And that's what we're seeing, the division of the states, which will lead ultimately to a sea war, all right? A CIVIL war eventually, because the different individuals that may even have came over illegal and then had offspring here, born here, and grew up. They don't want that anymore, okay? People that come over and have offspring and they become American citizens because they were born on American soil. No, they don't want that anymore, okay? It says here, if Satan rises against, this Matthew or Mark chapter 3 and 26, and if Satan, which is Esau, right, the enemy adversary, the physical counterpart right here, rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. So we know that Shaitan or Esau has an end, okay? But at this time, Esau is gonna move with the great wrath in which was placed in his hand, okay, to use the strength of being as a cunning hunter, okay, to pursue Jacob, okay, all 12 tribes. This is Genesis chapter 25 and 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, and it says a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Okay, so Jacob is a plain man dwelling in tents. Okay, and this man Esau, is a knowingly, skillfully, cunning, okay, hunter, okay, who is pursuing you Israelite steps and goings. Okay, so now where you've been in this country working, illegally because you have not paid for your residency, as they would say. Okay, getting into the country legally. Okay, because your status legally has expired, and then now you are illegal. They don't want you here. Okay.
Boston's my hometown, and it really shocks me that officials all over Massachusetts would rather release sex offenders, fentanyl dealers, drug dealers, human traffickers, and child rapists back into the neighborhoods.
Amid the intensifying immigration crackdown, over 1,500 non-citizens with criminal records have been arrested in Massachusetts, marking one of the largest ICE operations under the Trump administration. Dubbed as Operation Patriot, it is now the largest ICE crackdown in U.S. history, targeting violent, undocumented criminals. Over 1,500 undocumented immigrants with serious criminal records have been arrested across Massachusetts. As a sanctuary state, Massachusetts has been a key focus for federal immigration enforcement, which has struggled at times to locate and detain illegal immigrants with criminal charges and convictions. Due to laws that prevent local law enforcement from working with them, the month-long operation focused on sanctuary cities where ICE faces local resistance to immigration enforcement.
Immigration security is national security.
Right, so, they're telling you that these immigrants are here are basically T's is, all right, error is, and that this is a threat to national security. Serious criminal records, as they're going and trying to push to you that they're gang affiliated, which you do have individuals that are, but you have a lot of just regular common day individuals. But these are people that are Edomites that's worked for ICE. Okay, pushed through. Okay, do Department of Homeland Security, and they're coming to take your stay in this country because they are the ones who feel as if they are the proper landholders of this place. Okay, that this is their inheritance from their posterity, even though they have stolen even their stay here in this country. Okay, by conquering so-called Native Americans, which would be the tribe of Gad, Seminole Indians of Florida, and those places, and even taking lands that even so-called Mexicans had here in the United States. Okay, out west. Okay. They feel that's their God-given right to do. Okay. And they don't they don't have nothing but a pure contempt for you, Israelites out there. Okay, so you wondering why they coming and taking these Israelites from wherever they are, whether they're just going to a soccer game or going and transporting from school. It's because the spirit that's with them is not upright. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and 4 said, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, because he also transgressed by wine. He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarged his desires hell, and as death cannot be satisfied, but gather up unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." All right, and even like right now, Esau is heaping y'all into various detention centers. Okay, and since he has different partnerships with various countries throughout the world, El Salvador, that's the name. Okay, he want their collaboration, with these different countries, where they can hold and house. Is what they call it. Criminals are illegal aliens, or illegal immigrants, and he has y'all all gathered away, man, and they're doing, like I say, a lot of very wicked things to the Israelites that are in that possession. What's being told is that they even taking DNA. All right. Okay, so you have it here off of Newsweek. You have DHS collecting DNA as part of a massive surveillance effort. Okay. Lawsuit. So you have it here, a lawsuit against U.S. Department of Homeland Security alleges a failure to respond to numerous Freedom of Information Act requests, or FOIA, seeking details on how the agency collects and stores the uses the DNA of non-citizens taken into custody as part of a larger mass surveillance effort on behalf of Trump administration, plaintiff claim. Okay, so not only you gotta worry about being taken, but you also have to worry about your genetic and makeup being taken into their collection for whatever reason they want to do. And ultimately, we know, the end game is the MOTB, okay, as the ultimate mass surveillance effort, okay. Newsweek reached out to DHS, Immigration Customs Enforcement, or ICE, and Custom Border Patrol for comment, okay? But the DHS has not been transparent, okay, about its rapid expanded program of genetic data collection from migrants, including children. So even the kids, they taken into detention, they getting their genetic data as well. All right. And the FOIA suit expressing mounting concerns about both the scale and oversight of the DNA practices. All right. It is a mistake to think that DHS DNA collection program, as immigration law or enforcement, Emily Tucker, exclusive director at the Center of Privacy and Technology at Georgetown Law, said in a statement, Trump is using immigration powers to justify the activity of its militarized federal police force, okay, which would be in the form of your ICE, because there is so little institutional or judicial oversight or accountability for executive enforcement actions that invoke immigration authority. So, he using his commander-in-chief power to basically overrule, a lot of the different laws and such. Okay, the president wanted it done, let's get it done. Okay, but there have been so-called laws and different rights set up, but hey, he gathered on you, all people, so he's not gonna go by his law. This man is double-minded, and you cannot trust his word. This dude is wavering. Okay, so I'm gonna get also Psalms chapter 90. I think it's Psalms 94 and 21. And it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? Okay, and a lot of course, their goings is codified in law. Okay, you know, and this stuff been plastered up, man. Framed is being put forward, you know, by law. It's been because, you know, you have it that Esau is just on the left hand, a servant of the Lord. Okay, he's a left-handed servant of the Lord, doing the evil unto the Israelites. It says they gather themselves together, against the soul of the righteous, which would be the Israelites. Okay, when it said Jacob was a plain man that dwelled in tents, Jacob was made. You have it to be basically what, morally perfect, and was it, yeah, morally innocent and such. Being ethically pure, all right, a quiet sort of person, one who lacks nothing in physical strength and beauty, complete. You know, we have a whole contrary nature than the Edomites. Okay, it says they gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. Yeah, they condemn you. You are illegal. You have no reason to be here in my country. You know, you look like you're not supposed to be here. You are bad, and they're coming. You know, people are, you know, that are pro-Trump or pro-Edomite. You know, white as they have it, weight supremes. Okay, taco supreme. We're gonna give it. You know, they're striking back. Okay, but what they're doing in these different places, like I say, is some very, 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 very cruel things. Okay, you see a police employee test some chain reaction or PCR from saliva sample he got, you know, for a criminal analysis. They doing all type of experiments and such, you know, and testing, you know, behind the scenes. Okay, this program was one part of a massive surveillance dragnet that sweeps in information about everyone. They will use it for deportation, but they will also use it to intimidate, silence, and target anyone they perceive as the enemy. And remember, we have been seen as the enemy unto them even before the womb. Okay, as we do know, even before that, you know, you have the division between the woman and the serpent seed. Okay, you have it with Jacob and Esau, the war within the womb. So, you know, it's a lot of very cruel things that's on its way and will continue to happen. And hey, you know, Jacob trouble is going to be some trouble. All right, some real, very, very, very tough straits for the nation of Israel. But, you know, we know that the elect remnant, it shall be well for. And though they will be tried and tested, the Lord is with them. You know, but, you know, the wicked, they still are set to do what the Lord designed them to do. And it's in its perfection on the left or on the right, regardless. Okay, so it says in verse Psalms 94 and 23, and he shall bring upon them their own iniquity. So the Lord gonna turn all this against them and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yeah, the Lord Yahweh, our God, our power shall cut them off. And the Lord is going to cut off the wicked, their rulership. Okay? But you can see they're They're trying to establish that NWO. All right. You have it Tazamath, which means the Lord is going to put to an end. All right. Esau, Edom's rule. All right. So, he's coming with great wrath, as it tells you in Revelation 12 and 12. Or that was Revelation 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and them that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have a short time. Okay, and how they doing these sweeps? They doing them quick. They moving very surgical and strategically to do it. Okay, and they cracking down. All right, as you see the Edomite, or whomever this is, it look like. It almost look like it might be right here looking like a so-called Chinese person, but we know EE used fake pages too. Well done, ISIS successful at carrying out an operation and upholding immigration and custom regulations. It's perplexing to see local advocates defend individuals with known criminal history. But what about those that are being caught up without any criminal history, allegedly being mistakenly grabbed up in these different raids, and the children? What criminal history did the kid that actually was born here, but his father or his mom, all right, has alleged criminal history because they entered the community without having proper documentation, or they stayed and their documentation is expired. Those children are now criminals, because they're Edomites, and because they're Israelites. And the Edomites themselves, they see all Jake as a criminal or an enemy. All right, so that's it through the spirit. Shalom to the elect. You can check into this. I'll leave links. Shalom.